Hello, this is Sunil Sundaraj with Global Women's Sports Radio. I'm happy to welcome in NJIT Highlanders women's basketball senior guard Ellyn Stoll. Ellyn, thank you so much for taking some time out to speak with me today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations, Ellyn, on an absolutely tremendous career. I said at NJIT. You've had a few days now to kick back and reflect on your career there. What comes first, I said to your mind, Ellyn.
Well, the last couple days have been kind of weird. I feel like I have like way too much free time, and I don't
Yeah.
I don't really like it that much. Um, but reflecting the last couple of days, it's definitely been quite a journey. Coming in as a freshman, they always tell you like these years go by the snap of a finger. It goes by really quick, and I was like, oh, it's 4 years, but they were right. I can't believe it's already time, and these last 4 years have been great. I mean, coming in and having that first year and having to play right away as a freshman definitely had made me mature very quickly as a person on and off the court. Um, and having to play the point guard my freshman and my sophomore year definitely wasn't what I was expecting, but definitely helped me grow as a player. And the coaching change was obviously not expected either, but um, I'm so glad that I've had these last 3 years with this staff. The staff's awesome, just genuinely great people. And yeah, I just can't believe I'm already a senior.
Yeah.
You've gone by way too fast.
Again, a very challenging year with the COVID-19 pandemic, Ellen. We talked about it, said, before the matchup there against UMass Lowell in the America East playoffs. But again, with a young team, you being, I said again, the elder statesman, being the only senior on the team, leading this pack, 7 freshmen, I think, on this team. To reach, again, the playoffs here. I mean, back-to-back games. I mean, you guys were, I said didn't play for a month. I mean, on a
Mhm.
sideline. I mean, can you just talk about it? Being able to, withstand, those, I said obstacles and being able to overcome them. And again, you guys, I mean, as I said, in my headline, for the article, you put up a valiant effort. I mean, you guys came to play, you were prepared, you were ready. Can you talk about that, that week leading up to the game against UMass Lowell?
Sure. I mean, as you said, we had played one game within, I think it was a 35-day span. So we definitely had a lot of time to ourselves in the WEC, working on the things that we needed to work on. And I think that definitely helped leading up to the UMass game, just focusing on, our principles and our fundamentals. It really is important when you're going into playoffs. I mean, um, we had a good week of practice before that UMass game. Prepared really well, and it just didn't go our way. But you know, it happens sometimes. Sometimes the ball just doesn't go in the net. You miss shots. It is what it is. But we definitely, I think, left a good mark in our last game, and definitely showed a lot of resilience over just the course of this challenging year.
Yeah. It's not easy taking that uniform off for the last time. I mean, how emotional was that when you guys went back into the locker room, with the coaching staff, with your teammates, again, knowing, as you alluded to, where you started out, as a freshman, and here you come full circle, as a senior, Ellen.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, as the clock was winding down, my teammates were coming up and hugging me. I was like, "Don't! I'm gonna start crying. You guys keep hugging me."
Yeah.
But you know, having worn that jersey for 4 years has definitely meant a lot, and um, it's been a crazy ride, and obviously taking that jersey off, I was like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I can't believe this is actually my last outing.
Yeah.
Um, and coach kind of just wrapped it up pretty nicely in the locker room. Just reflected mostly like on the year that we've had and how awesome it's been that haven't even gone on pause one time this
Yeah.
entire um, this entire season, which is definitely rare. And just how lucky we were to even have this season. So I had like a golf ball going in my throat going into the media afterwards,
Yeah.
but definitely an emotional day, and
Yeah.
just lucky to have had this experience for sure.
I was looking at your stats this year. I think averaged, I think a career high 9.4 points per game. I think the New Hampshire game, the beginning of the season, a season high 19 points, and then I think shot a career high 81% from the free throw line. I mean, this was I mean, you talk about the numbers this year. You put up some, really solid stats this year in your final season there at NJIT, Ellyn.
Yeah, I mean, I owe a lot of that to, my coaching staff and my teammates. I mean, having playing a lot of time with Kenna and Lizzie. I mean, we've talked about both of them a lot. They're awesome players. They see the floor. They lead me into those 3-point shots that I love to take, as you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I owe a lot of that to my teammates and their hard work and just being able to find me and put me in good positions on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. I mean, I think what's so impressive is your durability on the court. The amount of games that you played every year and started. I mean, then you know, just building upon that, 919 career points, 189 assists, 284 field goals made. I mean, 205 career rebounds. I mean, when you think about those numbers, I mean, it's got. I mean, I can see it. It brings a smile to your face knowing all the hard work you put in really paid off, Ellyn.
Yeah, I mean, it's from the time you're in high school and going to AU and all these college camps, there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors before even getting to this point. So um, to be able to produce those numbers, like I said, I owe it to my teammates and my coaches for the individual work and always holding me to the highest standard. But it feels good at the end of your career to know that all your hard work paid off and showed over your career.
I'm just curious, heading into your senior season, were there any, personal goals? I mean, something that you wanted to accomplish, and then of course you knew that this was a young team. Said coming in. I'm just wondering, like, taking on that leadership role. Can you just dive into that, Ellyn?
Yeah, I like we've talked about before, we having last year and having 6 freshmen come in last year
Yeah.
and then another 6 coming this year. I definitely had a little bit of experience trying to get through to the younger players and just welcome them into our system. Um, but this year, like having to grow into that leadership role, being the sole senior on the team, was definitely difficult, and especially in this environment with all the restrictions and everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
But these girls have just made it so much easier for me than I expected to be a leader on this team. They're just super hardworking. They want to get better. They're good listeners. So having stepped into that sole leadership role this year, they just made it easy for me. And my coaching staff was definitely patient and led me in the right direction, growing into the leader that I wanted to be. So, yeah,
You sensed that early on in the season from like the first game you guys played, I say new conference. Let's not forget that America East.
Mhm.
From the East, I didn't even ask you about that, and playing in a new conference as well. And then being the first, program, athletic program at NJIT, to win in America East. I mean, that's,
Mhm.
you talk about, something, you can look back on this season. That's, right off the bat is,
Yeah,
big leg up
that
there.
was an awesome win. I think that was probably the best statement we could have made coming into this new conference. And I know that the whole staff at NJT was just ecstatic about that, having it be the first win in the America East for the school. But yeah, that was definitely a statement win, and that was awesome, especially having that be what that game was like December 5th, like one of our first
Yeah.
games, having one of
Mhm.
our first games be a conference game. Yeah, that was awesome. That's something that we'll always remember for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know Coach Lane alluded to, you mentioned in the press post game, as far as well, you again, this season, when you guys 20, 30 years look down, you guys are married, have kids, you'll be able to tell them, this story, what, you guys were, you went through.
Hmm.
It was special, I know no fans in the stands. It must have been very tough, especially, friends, family. At the WEC, but the thing is that you were honored, I said by your, teammates, by your coaching staff. That was special to see that. And I just wanted to ask you, that again, it must have been very emotional for you. But again, to right there at the WEC at center court, can you just talk about that, Ellyn?
Yeah. What happened? I was not expecting that at all, and it's funny because all of the media people started coming in. I saw our SWA up in the stands, Peg, and I was like, oh, like that's cool. They're filming us and taking pictures for us heading into the playoffs, and I just was so oblivious to the fact of what was going on. Um, and it was funny right before that happened. I had switched onto a post and I got an elbow in my jaw. So I was like on the sidelines and I was like, oh, I was like, I have to go to the training room, and all of the flowers and everything were right by the training room. They're like,
Yeah.
no, no, like you can't go. And I was like, what? Like, what's going on? So I was completely caught off guard, which made it even more special and more awesome. Um, but they played a video of my 4 years over at NJIT, and my family was speaking on there. My girl Kelly Garino from 2 years ago was talking to me on the screen. My nephew, my teammates, my coaches. So it was such a special day. And obviously, I wish my family could have been there. But besides that, I mean, it was awesome. It was definitely special. I cried like the whole day.
Yeah, yeah, I
it
can only
was it was an
imagine. Yeah,
emotional day for sure.
yeah, no, definitely. What is it about playing at the WEC? That makes it so special. It is just an absolutely,
Oh, it's
magnificent,
awesome.
facility. I mean, state of the art. I mean, you talk, the basketball court, but then you talk about the, where they have, the weights and, I
Hmm.
mean, there's so many amenities. But can you just talk about being able to play, flourish in that environment, to have that type of, backing, I said, and, be able to play on that court, I mean, that adrenaline rush really must kick in, like, I said, when you're, I said, playing there.
Yeah, I mean, coming in as a freshman, um, we were still working out in the old gym,
Mhm.
and when you are in that gym, and then a couple months later you're in the WEC, you're like, oh my gosh, like
It's night and day.
it's night and day. And that was definitely an attraction for my class coming in, being able to see what was gonna we were gonna play our first game in the next 4 years in. Um, it's an awesome arena. I mean, the athletic training room, the new turf field, the weight room. I mean, we used to have to go from one weight room to the other and like run through the hallway. Like it's just it's an awesome contribution to our school. And it's I think a lot of even like our opponents come and they play in the WEC and they're like, wow, like
Yeah.
this is an awesome arena.
No, definitely. I wanted to just piggyback to last year, because I think you scored a career high 25 points last year. I think I said your best games came against, I think it's I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Kenneth State, but those are special games. I mean, I had to ask you, I said that, I mean, it's a player's dream, to be in the zone and it said on fire, but you were in those games. Can you talk about it said those moments?
Yeah, those Kennesaw games, yeah, I remember those. Those are two games that I'll definitely remember. Um, I One of my old coach's daughters lives in Georgia, and my family couldn't make it out to that game, and I saw her in the stands, and I was like, I have to have a game today. Um, so I mean, just having, and then the other Kennesaw game when I was at home, I had my family in the stands. Um, and I feel like a lot of the time I'm playing, for my team, and I'm also playing for my family
Yeah.
and the people that have gotten me, obviously, here to this point. I wouldn't, be the player that I am without those people. So just having that motivation from the stands, which we didn't have this year, but still, I had my teammates motivating me.
Yeah.
Just to have that motivation from the stands, I think um, has allowed me to put together a lot of those high scoring games.
That's good. I forgot another newcomer this year, and I think it was important, was Anissa Sanchez, for director of basketball operations. Can you just talk about Anissa? I mean, I think she, played a instrumental role as well, said this past season. Can you talk about her?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Anissa's awesome. She came in. I think her first trip with us was maybe UNH.
Hmm.
But Anissa's awesome. I mean, she brings just such a positive and energetic just presence to our days every single day. Um, she's just super positive. She really wants us to do well, and she really cares about each and every one of us. And we're so lucky to have had her through this challenging year, because she's just does everything for us. She's always there for us. She's just been super awesome. Um, and having her just be, a younger mindset and being someone that we can relate to has definitely been great to have,
Hmm.
through this year.
I know you already mentioned, of course, the coaching staff, but Coach Lane, Coach Mitchell, Coach Watson, Coach Garach. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, again, to see the past couple of years, and it's never easy, as you talked about with the coaching change, but to see them, stay the course, say, grind this out, and then, to see where this program, and now this season, but now for, years to come. I mean, just an absolutely, said again, fantastic job they did, said this season. But can you just talk about some of the intangibles? I mean, just with Coach Lane, said, what he brings to the table, what he's meant to you personally, Ellyn.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, coming in, I think Coach Lane and I had an understanding, and we had a pretty good relationship from the start. Um, and it's been just a crazy ride through the last 3 years, with the conference change and having so many young players. I feel like I've definitely been someone that he's kind of looked towards, to try to get through to the girls, and just in this constant, change
Mhm.
and adversity throughout these 3 years. But um, he's, like I said, he's always held me to the highest standard, and that's something that I really appreciate about him. And for him, he just is really focuses a lot on his relationships with the girls, which is not always something that you find in a coach, especially like at the collegiate level. Um, just all of our coaches, from Anissa to Coach Lane, they just all care about us so genuinely, and I think that that's something that's really important,
Yeah.
and something that, like I said, you don't really find very often
Yeah.
in
Definitely.
D1 coaching staff. But
Yeah.
I mean, these years have been super memorable, and that is credited a lot to that coaching staff for sure.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I just have a couple more. I can't thank you for the time, Melody. I don't want to forget, of course, the athletic department, administration, athletic director Lenny Kaplan, and the
Mhm.
support for the students. Can you? I mean, it's just to have that infrastructure in place. Again, is so pivotal, to the success, of a program, of a school. But I think NJIT again is just absolutely first class.
Yeah, Lenny and Peg, they have really, from the moment I stepped on campus, have been awesome. They really care about the student athletes, and making the student athlete experience the best that it can possibly be. Um, and that's just something that's awesome, especially having athletes from other countries and from across the U.S. They've really done a great job of making this place feel like home, and just allowing us to really thrive in this environment. So they've always been our number one supporters from the start.
Yeah. As we know, it's being a student athlete. That's so important. And I again, the rigors of balancing out, academics and athletics. You're a business major. At desk, and that's I know is something you're very proud of, that coming up with graduation in a few months. I mean, can you talk about that? I mean, it's not an easy task. You really have to again, be so organized, detail oriented. I mean, can you just, speak to that, Ellen?
hmm yeah, I think being a student athlete, I feel like I've always been a pretty. I'd like to think of myself as a pretty organized person, but definitely having to juggle, practice, lift, film,
Yeah,
extra individuals with your class schedule, and making sure you're eating the right things.
yeah,
Um, has definitely for me and for I mean, a lot of my teammates has really helped prepare us, for the real world. Um, like I said, since basketball's over, all I feel like I'm doing is homework, and I feel like I'm so organized that I just don't even know what else to do with myself.
yeah.
But it's I think that being a student athlete, one of the main takeaways is really preparing you for the real world and for the work environment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's student athlete experience has definitely been one to remember, and especially being at an institution like NJIT, it gets you ready to go out into the big scary world.
Yeah. uh, you're from Point Pleasant. I had to ask you, what led to the decision to attend NJIT, come up north? I said,
Mhm.
I'm just curious about that, Ellen.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning of my recruiting process, I was actually just talking about this with my parents last night. I wanted to go. I kind of like I had an idea in my head that I wanted to go, a little bit further from home, like 2 hours from home, just to get the college
Yeah.
experience. My sister went to Delaware, my brother went to South Carolina, my other sister went to JMU, so they all went to you know big schools far away, football, rah rah schools.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's where I want to go. I want to do that. Um, and then I visited NJT, and I was like, wow, like I actually like it here. My parents are always, have influencing me to, keep an open mind about where I wanted to go. And I can't even imagine being more than an hour away from home now. I think I picked the right place for me. And it's been awesome having my parents only be an hour away. And still have that college experience that I was looking for. um, and obviously, like we talked about before, the WEC was definitely an eye catcher for me. But yeah, only being an hour away from home, and having my siblings live in Brooklyn right here has definitely been awesome.
That's great. I wanted to just go back. I know it's been a number, well, not a long time, but a couple of years. Whether 4 or 5 years since you were at St. Rose High School. I mean,
Mhm.
the amount of success that program had. Not only on the state level but nationally,
Right.
winning championships. I had to ask you. And it's never easy to make that transition from the high school, level to college, and the fact that you won so much, and then to come to NJIT. I had to ask you about that. Those are special times at St. Rose High School.
For sure. I mean, I feel like my time at St. Rose definitely prepared me for college, and that made the transition a lot easier than I think it would be for most freshmen coming in. Uh, I was competing with Division 1 players every day. My senior year, all of us had already committed to a Division 1 school. So having being in that competitive environment, and having the coaches that I had, and Coach Whalen, Coach Carter, um, they really just prepared us to really thrive in our first year at college. So yeah, that those were fun times. High school was definitely awesome. Competing in short conference finals and the TOC and
Yeah.
state championships. Those were great times. Yeah.
And you made first team. Everybody talks about offense, but I don't think we should overshadow your defense as well. I mean, you were, I think, a first team all defense. I mean, everybody, talks again offense, but you prided yourself on the defensive end as well, Alan.
hmm yeah, I feel like a lot of people do focus on offense a lot, but um, and this is like a cliche, but your
Yeah,
defense leads to your offense, and I I feel like there's just nothing better, and I feel like and ones and 3-point shots will like hype up your team, but
yeah,
I love when one of my teammates gets a charge and we get like a team stop. Like that's really what I feel like, especially for me and for our team, really like hypes our team up for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I was telling Coach Lamb, I have the utmost respect for Lizzie. I'm like, she, under a 5'8", and she, willing to, said, get into the thick of things, against taller players, and gets knocked
y-
around. And you saw, I mean, and leading the team in rebounds. So if you want to talk about like, someone who definitely is inspirational, that's someone to point, and who was a freshman as well. I mean, that just,
yeah,
yeah,
she's like superwoman out there with getting the rebounds, taking charges on like 6'4", 5s. I don't.
yeah,
She's all over the floor and
yeah,
quick as lightning. I mean,
yeah,
Lizzie has, from the time she stepped on campus, she has grown so much on the court, and that has a lot to do with her hard work. I mean, every time I go into the gym, she's always in there.
yeah,
On off days, she's in there setting up cones, working on her ball handling, working on her vision. Um, she's just always the hardest worker in the gym, super dedicated to the sport and to her teammates and the staff. And it's definitely translated onto the court. I mean, she has had an awesome year. What, like five rookie of the
I
weeks? I
know
don't, I've
that
lost count. I don't,
unbelievable.
honestly.
Yeah, the
um
impact that she had, this year. I mean, I don't think anybody could have expected it. But again, as you said, a testament to her hard work, to her diligence, and just willing to put in the time. Said again off the court, and again the
yeah.
results showed. Said during the games.
Hmm.
I know you talked about your siblings, your parents, but just I mean, what this journey has been like. Said from the time you were said in high school, even before that. Now here, of course, the NJIT. I mean, this has got to be again, with your family, really special times here. Knowing again what you were able to do.
Yeah. It's definitely been special. I actually went out to dinner with my parents last night, um, and we were reflecting on the last 4 years, and they were just expressing how proud they were of me and all that. And my parents have been my number one supporters through everything. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to develop into this player, and this person without their dedication to me and to allowing me to follow my dreams and actually play Division 1
Yeah.
basketball. But um, yeah, it's definitely been a great ride, and having them in my family and supporters with me has made it that much easier and
That's great.
and memorable.
Uh, I don't want to forget, actually, back home, what's been the reaction, Point Pleasant, said to your success, can you talk about that? And also St. Rose High School. I don't want to, I definitely want to give a shout out to them, if you want to speak to that. I mean, that's, I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
you still
mean,
maintain those relationships, as said back home, with your coaches and, former teammates.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's I talk to my teammates all the time. I mean, especially through this environment, we've always been like texting back and forth, like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're in quarantine. Are you playing this weekend? Is your game canceled?" Da, da, da. But it's always so much fun to after the season go back home and be able to train with them again, train with Coach Carter from St. Rose, and
Mhm.
get all the girls back together, and play pickup and things like that. So. Um, Basketball is definitely, a special sport with having all the relationships that I've created along the way, from the time I started in like fourth grade to now.
Yeah.
Um, that's definitely one of the main reasons why basketball is so important to me, because I've just created so many relationships and memories with just awesome people, from back home and from around here, and even from like Kennesaw. I have a good friend, Bree Hoover, that's in Kennesaw, and it's just been awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely excited to go home and still have pick up with my teammates. I guess I'm
Yeah.
considered like the old woman now because everybody else.
See, that was going to be one of my questions, asking you about what the game of basketball means to you, and and now you've answered that. But no, it's great. And another thing is, I don't think people forget is that the preparation. Again, the it's you never take a day off. If you want to be the best of, as you've been able to do, you have to put in that hard work. 24/7, 365, Ellen.
Right. Yeah. It definitely. takes a lot. I mean, when people watch you play on game day,
Yeah.
you never know
Yeah.
what people have done to prepare to
Yeah.
get to this point. Um, Going back to the St. Rose days, every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday, we'd be getting up like 5:30 to get shots up at 6, and we'd make 500 threes on Saturday and Sunday. So like
Mm.
having that work ethic,
Yeah.
drilled into me from the time I was in high school, has definitely helped me attempt to be the best player that I can be. Um, and just having the mindset that there's always more room for progress, I feel has definitely fueled me and helped me, grow into a better player each year.
Were there any other sports when you were growing up that you played? I was just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing golf since I was in maybe like first grade.
Wow.
I won the
Okay.
club championship when I was in first grade, so that's always a memory in my childhood.
Yeah.
And I played soccer until I was in like seventh grade, and then I decided to, that was probably like my first real somewhat adult decision was choosing one sport to focus on and try
Yeah.
to get to the collegiate level.
Yeah.
And it was a no-brainer. I was definitely picking basketball. Um, and I mean, the funny story is when I was playing soccer, I played defense. And this was during the time where I had to make the decision. And I don't know like what came over me, but the ball was coming, towards our net, and the ball was kicked to me, and I picked it up in the box. Like I just picked it up, and I just looked around, and I just dropped it. And after the game, my parents were like, "I think basketball will be the sport for you." And I was like, "Probably."
Yeah.
We were losing by like 4 at that point. And the game was almost over, so it wasn't a big deal. But you know, that just speaks to what sport I was meant to play.
Yeah, no, that's great. Um, we've seen how the growth of women's, high school and college basketball over the years. Just, just what your personal. I mean, it's just great to see, that I know there's still, room for improvement, and like, still we haven't reached that true equality. But can you just talk about that? I mean, Ellyn.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like you said. We haven't really reached the where we want to be yet.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that growing up at the shore and playing shore basketball,
Mhm.
I think definitely inspired me as a young player. Seeing the players before me, I mean, it's such a competitive area for basketball, and it's a lifestyle, and that's all people do there. And
Yeah.
having made it to like the shore conference final, and the TOC, and just seeing what young girls in basketball can be, having reflected on my time here, and seeing my teammates as they go through their years in college. I mean, there's just so much that can be accomplished by women, and I think that the equality is well deserved, and I think that we're definitely headed in the right direction. And that's why I appreciate these interviews with you so much, and you focusing on women in sports, and it's just definitely a meaningful thing. So thank
Yeah.
you for that. It's
No,
awesome.
it's a no, again, it's just a true honor and privilege, again, to cover women's sports. I have a daughter, who's going to be entering high school. So as I said, I'm trying to set that good example for her. Yeah. And you made an excellent point about relationships, and I really, I think that's so great and so commendable, is that, you may be competitors, on the court, but off the court, friends, like, with
Mhm.
other, opposing players, and like, from other schools. I think that is just fantastic, and just not for now, as said, for years to come, and that's something you can maintain. That's great. Final question. Uh, you were a freshman, said learning, from, of course, upperclassmen. And here now you come full circle, you're able to pass down your knowledge, to the younger players. What your advice is for the younger players, for younger kids who want to be, in Ellyn Stoll one day, and want to, be playing in NJIT team. Just wondering, what, you can offer, to the younger, players out there.
Mhm. I think just you know, there's, like I said before, there's always room for improvement. Just never stop working hard, and just always fueling your confidence, and doing what you're good at can really help your game. And you know, just always following your dreams. I didn't think that when I was in fourth grade wearing ankle socks with my basketball shoes that I would be in this position that I am
Yeah.
now. So just really finding what you love and doing what you love, and working hard at it will definitely bring success, and just happiness into your journey.
Well said. Once again, an absolute honor and privilege, to interview you, Ellyn. Thank you so much for everything. I said, congratulations on your success again there at NJIT with the women's basketball program, and then of course in academics, and with graduation upcoming, and just keep up, again, the tremendous job.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome to talk to you through this crazy year
Yeah.
and through the screen.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.